Our topic right now is early literacy. And this week we're going to really start jumping into the youngest ages of literacy learners. We'll start this week with our story of the week, and the story is called How to Make an Apple Pie and See the World. Listen to the story through the video on the right here, and then brainstorm how you would use this story on your weekly literature sheet. Then you'll Dropbox your ideas for your participation points. The next slide will give you my ideas and also share some of the great links that we have as resources for this book. So these are my ideas, and you can come back to those. But the links that I have for this book, I have 2 links for the author's biography. We talked last time about the importance of sharing information about the author with our students so they begin to understand that authors are real people, and we have 2 great links here. There's also 3 different book activity ideas, and if you're struggling to come up with ideas each week on the weekly literature activity, these are places where you can go on the internet to see what other teachers are doing with this book. Read our weekly message on our 4th slide, and we have a warm-up game to play on the next slide that's coming. Also, our weekly discussion question to be thinking about for your journal is how can teachers and parents be developmentally appropriate in teaching early literacy to young children? This is our warm-up game. In this sharing game, you're going to read the stories at the top about 2 students, Hannah on the left and Irma on the right. This background knowledge is much like the knowledge that you will find out about your own classroom students. Then for the game, I want you to pretend you are the teacher of these 2 little girls. You're going to click right here on the die, and it's going to open you to a link. And when the link opens, roll the die on the screen by pressing the word roll, and it's in the top left corner. After you've rolled, you're going to see what number you got, and then on the right, you're going to answer the question that corresponds to your number. So if you've rolled a 3, you're going to read question number 3 right here. If you rolled a 5, you'll find the die with 5 dots and answer that question. The answers to your questions will be posted by clicking here, and that will take you to your first Padlet board for this presentation. It's just a fun way that we can integrate question answering and interaction with students. The first main topic in our presentation is how literacy develops. And so we're going to look at the 5 phases of literacy. I want to do that through a sorting activity because sorting activities, when used with young children, activate their prior knowledge, show you as the teacher what they already know, and also get their brains ready for the information to come. So by doing this sort, you're going to pay more attention when the answers come out later, and it will be more meaningful for you because you've already done this discovery activity. So start by clicking right here on the sort button, or if you'd rather, you can go into D2L, and in the presentation folder, there's files, and this is one of the files. You will need to print it out or be able to manipulate it on your screen. Either way is fine. If you do not want to print it out, you can handwrite any answers this week. That's always an option for you. There are 3 parts of this sort: the stage of our learners, the age range of our learners, and the description of the level that you are sorting. So you'll have 3 different groups together for each stage. And then when you finish your sort, take a picture of it and Dropbox it to me for participation. When you finish your sort and Dropbox it, come back and you may click right here on the word here, or go into D2L, and there will be a hard copy of the answers with some more information. The information on this sheet right here is extremely valuable to you as a literacy teacher because not only does it talk about the stage of literacy development, the age range, and the description, it also talks about for each stage, what can teachers do to help kiddos in this stage? And what can parents do to help kiddos in this stage? So it's very specific and gives you a great amount of information that's applicable. Now, on this section right here is the video that will explain the answers to you. And it's a really great extension to your own sorting activity. So check out the video as well. So lots to do on this slide 6. Slide 7 talks about developmentally appropriate practice. And if you haven't heard that term before, it's one you definitely want to pay attention to and remember. And so you'll read the slide and look at the different ways we need to be developmentally appropriate in our classrooms and how do students differentiate for different students' levels. To kind of piggyback on that, we're going to do a little game. This slide is a quiz, and it has characteristics of preschool age learners. I want you to think about 3 to 5-year-olds and really less of those pre-K students and more of what we would consider a preschooler. Find the characteristics that do not belong. So check them out, read them, and then in your mind, just kind of pick a couple that you think don't belong there. On the next slide, you're going to check your answers. I'm not going to show you that slide right now, but there is a Listen and Learn podcast that will explain to you how the characteristics that do not belong are not appropriate. So you can follow up by listening to that podcast. Moving on, we're going to talk about learning through play, which is developmentally appropriate for this age of learners. And there's 2 types of play, free play and pretend play. Also, there are 2 articles, and I believe you should have already read at least one of those for our class today. But if you haven't, you can access them here or on D2L, and they describe these kinds of play in detail. Then, one of those kinds of play is dramatic play. This slide is all about dramatic play, which is one of my favorite things to plan and participate in with students. What I'd like you to do, there's 5 steps on this slide. First, I'd like you to press the Listen and Learn podcast for dramatic play. Then, after you've listened to the podcast, you're going to watch the gray video right here. Then you're going to choose 2 or more of the videos at the bottom in blue. After you've done this activity and listened to the videos, you're going to click on our Pinterest button, and this will help you make your Pinterest board for dramatic play for the week. And then you're going to click on the blue sharing board, which is a Padlet board, and you're going to share 3 things a child would learn at your favorite dramatic play center. So tell us what it is and 3 things a child would learn going to that dramatic play center. So this is a very involved slide, but it's going to give you a lot of information that's applicable to a classroom. Slide 12 is building on those dramatic play centers using the language experience approach. And we learned about the language experience approach already when we talked about meeting each learner's different needs. And if you click the Listen and Learn podcast button, this will explain this to you. This slide talks about the importance of building a literate environment for your youngest learners. And also, there's a link right here, and it is also in the presentation folder on D2L, of how parents can build a literate environment at home for their own learners. So you might want to click on that and visit that. That will help you answer the weekly journal question as well. Some other areas of reading are something called environmental print, and this slide will give you some examples of environmental print. And then if you're still not sure what environmental print is, or if you want a great activity to pin or bookmark, click on this button right here. It will link you to an article that explains environmental print, and it also has resources for games and activities in your classroom, and there's things that you can just print and use, which is fantastic. It saves you a lot of work. That is also in our D2L folder. So if you don't want to use the link, you can go and just get it from the folder. Moving out of environmental print, we're going to talk about how writing develops in our youngest learners. And we have our continuum here you can read about, and then click the Listen and Learn podcast for an explanation on the different stages of pre-writing. And our last stage of pre-writing is invented spelling, and this is also known as kid writing in many classrooms. This Listen and Learn podcast right here will talk to you about invented spelling. And then if you'd like to know more about kid writing, you can click on the book right here on the left, and that will take you to Eileen Felgus's website. She is the originator of kid writing, and it's a fabulous resource for you. Last slide gives our weekly assignment. There's 8 things for you to do, and this coordinates with our calendar on D2L. But you'll have your weekly reflective journal, and there's your topic. You will Dropbox your weekly literature ideas. You will Dropbox a picture of your phases of literacy sort. You have 2 Padlet boards to participate in. They're slides 5 and slides 11. You'll make a pin board for dramatic play. You need 10 pins for that pin board. Remember, you don't need to share the pin boards with me until the very end of the semester, so just keep collecting pins. And then for next week, we have 3 quick activities. First of all, click right here on link. It's going to take you to a Google poll, and I need that data for your information for our next presentation. Also, in D2L, you're going to go to week 3, part 2, and you're going to read one of the 3 articles that are there. And last, just skim chapter 5 and look at the headlines so you know what's coming. All right, enjoy the presentation this week, and I hope it really has meaning to you for the age of learners that you're going to begin working with.